Have you ever wondered why life sometimes takes everything away from you? Money, comfort, even your pride? At that moment, it feels like the end of the world. But what if it's actually the beginning of something far greater? In a bustling city filled with tall glass buildings and endless traffic, there lived a man named Jonathan Reed. For years, people called him the Golden Man of the business world. His company was one of the biggest in the city. His name was in magazines, and his expensive suits and shining cars made him the symbol of success. But behind all the glitter, Jonathan carried something heavy inside pride. He believed his success was built only by his own hands. He rarely said thank you, even to his employees who worked tirelessly for him. At home, his family often felt like strangers, because Jonathan was always busy chasing bigger deals, bigger profits, and bigger glory. Yet in the eyes of the world, he was untouchable, a man who had everything. Then one stormy evening, everything changed. It began with small cracks, a late payment here, an angry client there. But like dominoes, one problem knocked into another. Soon, Jonathan's empire collapsed. A financial crisis swept through the markets, and within months, the company he had spent 20 years building was gone. Banks demanded their money back. His once loyal investors turned their backs on him. Former friends avoided his calls. And the people who once praised him on the front page now laughed at his downfall. Jonathan lost his business. He lost his house. He lost the life he had wrapped his identity around. One night, sitting alone in a small rented apartment, Jonathan stared at the empty walls and whispered, "Why me? How did I fall so low?" His son, Michael, sat quietly beside him. The boy was only 15, but his words were sharper than Jonathan ever expected. "Dad, maybe you didn't fall. Maybe life is just showing you what really matters." Jonathan's heart ached. At that moment, he realized he had been so busy being a king in the marketplace that he had forgotten how to be a father at home. The next few years were the hardest. Jonathan tried job after job, but kept failing. People looked at him with pity or scorn. Some whispered, "He had everything, and now look at him, nothing but a broken man." He walked through the streets where his billboards once shined, but now he was invisible. There were nights when Jonathan wanted to give up completely. Nights when he thought about running away, leaving behind the shame of being the man who lost it all. But every time despair came, he remembered his son's words, "Maybe you didn't fall. Maybe life is just showing you what really matters." One morning, Jonathan sat in a quiet park, watching children play. He overheard a poor man telling his friend, "If only someone gave us a small chance, a little guidance, we could feed our families too." Those words struck Jonathan like lightning. For the first time, he saw the world differently. He realized that all his life, he had built businesses only for profit. But maybe life was giving him another chance to build something with purpose. That day, Jonathan took a notebook and wrote one sentence. "If I ever rise again, it will not be for myself, but for others." With this new mindset, Jonathan started small. He didn't have millions anymore. He didn't have investors. All he had was his experience and his will. So he began mentoring small street vendors, teaching them how to manage money, talk to customers, and grow their tiny stalls. At first, people laughed. They said, "From a skyscraper office to teaching fruit sellers? How pathetic." But Jonathan didn't care anymore. For the first time, his work wasn't about pride. It was about people. Months passed. The vendors he mentored began to succeed. Word spread, and more struggling shopkeepers and small entrepreneurs came to him for guidance. Jonathan slowly built a new kind of business, an organization that trained and supported the poor to stand on their own feet. Years later, Jonathan stood on a simple wooden stage, not in a luxury hall, but in a crowded community center. Hundreds of small business owners were clapping for him, thanking him for changing their lives. Some had lifted their families out of poverty. Some had sent their children to school for the first time. Jonathan looked at their faces and felt something he had never felt during his years of wealth-real success. Turning to his son, now grown into a young man, Jonathan said quietly, "Michael, I used to think losing everything was the end of me. But now I see it was a gift. Bankruptcy didn't destroy me. It rebuilt me." Jonathan's story teaches us something timeless. What feels like a curse today may be the seed of tomorrow as blessing. We often label things too quickly, calling them good or bad. But the truth is, only time reveals their meaning. So if you are going through a loss, a failure, or a painful ending right now, remember Jonathan. Maybe life isn't taking something away from you. Maybe it's clearing the path for something greater. Stay patient, stay humble, stay faithful. Because what seems like the end today may one day become the greatest gift of your life.